This week on Inside the NFL, the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Barry Switzer, isn't concerned about taking over the Super Bowl champions.
Professional players don't care who their football coach is, who the head coach is. They don't care who's got the reins. As long as they believe in the system, are treated fairly and honestly, and have success, they don't care.
Derek Thomas of the Chiefs was so upbeat about opening day, he was moved to break into song.
Little Phil Collins would be appropriate right now. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
And Jimmy Johnson responds to his former employer's comments about life without Jimmy.
My contribution to the Cowboys, and I've said it many times, wasn't winning 2 Super Bowls. My contribution was with some assistant coaches and a couple of scouts. We put together the team that won 2 Super Bowls, and that's my contribution.
And now, the show the pros watch, Inside the NFL, with your hosts, Len Dawson, Nick Bonacotti, Chris Collinsworth, and special correspondent, Jimmy Johnson.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the longest-running show in the history of cable television. We're starting our 18th season. We've got some new additions this year we think you're going to like. One is Jimmy Johnson. He's joining the show. He'll be with us each and every week. The other addition is, if you look around, it's obvious, we have a new set, a new home.
Yeah, it's like your old home in Kansas City is what this looks like. But I thought it was good of Nick Bonacotti to finally take that pay cut and allow us a new set here. I thought that was a good
that's
idea.
HBO's version of the salary cap. But you know me, guys, I'd do anything for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, you didn't give me a chance, Nick and Chris, to say how nice it is to be back with you working on an exciting NFL season. Last year, Nick, some folks said the NFL is boring. It's not boring this year, particularly with the new rules changes that help the offense.
Yeah, one thing is for sure, it's a constant. They never in the history of the National Football League have ever passed the rule change to help the defense. Now a defensive back, if he breathes on a receiver, he gets a 10-yard penalty. And if he happens to have bad breath, it's a 15-yard penalty. Getting incredible.
Oh, that's exactly the way it should
Absolutely.
be. Because defensive football, Nick, is boring and everybody knows it.
Well, he's talking about a rule that's been there, and that is the chucking rule. They're enforcing it this year, meaning that 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, you can't hit a receiver. You, as an ex-receiver, how's that going to help the passing game?
Well, for people who don't know the rule change, it used to be a defensive back could engage a wide receiver and sort of carry him on down the field. Now when they get to 5 yards, have to take those hands off. And what we've seen are wide receivers running wide open during the course of this first week. And I really think it's the beginning of the end of bump and run in the National Football League.
Pass, 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 anything to help the offense. The offensive linemen, right? They can already hold the defensive lineman, but that's not enough. They had to pass another rule. Now they're going to let them line up a yard off the football, getting their pass block set, and before a defensive lineman even gets out of the stance, they're ready to block them. I think it's just gone too far.
Well, you're outvoted. 2-1. We like the offense. There's a couple of other rules changes that had an effect on some games this past week. One is the 2-point conversion. The other is kicking off from the 30-yard line with a 1-inch tee. You know, there are 224 games in the NFL this year, and we're going to show you highlights of all of them. Not just highlights. We're talking about NFL Films highlights. They are simply the best. Let's start with the Seahawks at the Redskins.
First one, that's a big one.
Hey, is Heath Schuler a hunk or what?
For both hunks and honeys, the NFL began its 75th season.
You know it's opening day. You know it's opening day. Seahawks, Seagulls, blew them up.
As I said, this is the National Football League. First game out of the barrel. Let's set the tempo for the whole year, baby. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Get back.
Breeze looks right, fires. Intercepted by Terry Wooden. He could be gone at the 50, 45, 40. Terry Wooden, touchdown, Seahawks. Wooden goes the distance for the football.
The Seahawks used defense to pound the Redskins, and their biggest bludgeon was All-Pro Cortez Kennedy.
I just stepped up and picked up Cortez upfield.
Okay, good.
Kennedy, number 96, is a perfect blend of quickness and strength.
Inside, and he is clobbered right at the line of scrimmage by Cortez Kennedy. Holy smoke. Cortez was in the backfield. They're down at 7. Schuler trying to scramble, and he gets drilled by Cortez Kennedy at the 13-yard line.
Rolling into the pocket like a bowling ball, Kennedy exploded blockers, leaving his teammates to clean up the 10-pin. While Heath the Hunk ended up like a gutter ball, the real ground pounder emerged. Seahawk running back Chris Warren is underrated but overpowering, and he terrorized Redskin linebackers and defensive backs. Warren, who ran for over 1,000 yards in 1993, rushed for 100 yards and scored 2 touchdowns against the overmatched Redskins.
Stops in the formation, pitch to Warren around the right side, gets a block. Warren at the 10, Warren at the 5, touchdown Seahawks.
The befuddled Redskins were blown out by a Seahawk team that seemed vastly improved from last season.
Left field Collins would be appropriate right now. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
The sounds of Genesis would be nice to kick off the new season.
Could y'all get him to put on left field Collins, please?
After all, the Chiefs have a couple of players who seem to have been around since the beginning of time. And it's pretty much the same old story with Marty Schottenheimer's pregame pep talks.
First step in the ladder, man. The first step. We got to take the first step, and together, one play at a time, we got the people to get it done. Grab that first rung and let's go.
16-year veteran Joe Montana, the golden oldie with the golden arm, was up to his old tricks, throwing for over 300 yards for the 36th time in his career. The NFL's version of Dorian Gray led the Chiefs to a touchdown on their first drive of the year.
Football at the St. 11, split backs for Montana. 2-step drop, fires to the end zone. Pass caught, Willie Davis, touchdown!
Great job, Joe. Great job. Nicely done, Willie. Great job.
After Montana beat the Saints through the air, his partner in time, Marcus Allen, took over on the ground. Since coming to Kansas City, Allen has proven to be a money player near the goal line, and with the help of Keith Cash, he was able to score 1 touchdown and fool the Saints on another.
Hand off to Marcus Allen, going to the outside, touchdown! His 114th career touchdown!
In the fourth quarter, Cash went in motion again, and with everyone expecting another handoff to Allen.
Handoff, play fake, rather, and a pass near side. Keith Cash has it. Great fake by Montana. Touchdown, Kansas City.
While Allen and Montana continued to drink from the fountain of youth, Jim Everett was hoping to be born again amongst the Saints. Last Sunday was his baptism by fire.
The ball sprays to 29. And
Everett will have to wait another week for his first win in New Orleans. Marty Schottenheimer goes for his 101st victory Sunday against San Francisco.
100 National Football League wins. Marty Schottenheimer, best coach, way to start off.
History was in the air Monday night at Candlestick Park. Wide receiver Jerry Rice entered the game needing 3 trips to the end zone to break Jim Brown's all-time career touchdown mark. And in the first quarter, he got off to a running start.
5, touchdown 49ers! Jerry Rice, a 70-yard touchdown reception. He is now tied with one.
While Rice was chasing records, his teammates were busy chasing the Raiders back to L.A. Tight end Brent Jones bent over backwards to help the 49ers with 2 touchdown catches.
23-14, and Young wants to throw. He pumps, he looks around, he comes back, he goes over the middle into the end zone. Touchdown, Brent Jones.
However, this game clearly belonged to Rice. Early in the fourth quarter, he tied Jim Brown's record in a way that was fitting tribute to the ex-Cleveland running back. He did it on the ground.
He's to the 10. He's into the end zone. Jerry Rice has caught Jim Brown.
With less than 5 minutes remaining on this magical night, the heir to the touchdown throne was king of anything thrown in the air.
And he is looking for Jerry. And Rice is there. And he's into the end zone. He's done it. Jerry Rice. In the 75-year history of the National Football League.
Rice has broken the plane of the goal line 127 times, more than any other player in NFL history, making him arguably the greatest receiver in the history of pro football. This Sunday, Rice will go up against the man who threw him more than half of his touchdown receptions. ex-teammate Joe Montana of the Chiefs.
Jerry Rice, #1, breaking Jim Brown's touchdown record. And Chris and Nick, he did it as a wide receiver, someone who does not get his hands on the ball 20 and 30 times a ball game. We think it's terrific. I wonder how Jerry Rice feels about that. Let's go to California and bring him in. Jerry, thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Now, Jerry, I want to refresh your memory. The last time we talked to you was before the Super Bowl last year on our show, and you had been defeated by the Dallas Cowboys, and you said you were considering retirement. What about now after you got the record?
Well, that thought is gone now. You know, I came back this year. I wanted to really just be consistent. I have had so many guys to put me in this position, and these guys, I give them all the credit.
This week, Jerry, you go to Kansas City, play at Arrowhead Stadium. Joe Montana versus Steve Young. Big matchup. We all know that Montana can win Super Bowls in big games, but Steve Young has really had his problems winning the big ball games. Has Steve finally developed into the quarterback that can make him start winning these games, especially this week?
Yes, he's matured now, and I think Steve is just going to go out and be himself, not try to do too much, to really rely on his players to make plays for him and just win the football game.
Jerry, this is Chris Collinsworth, and I don't know what the big deal is. You only caught about 95 more touchdown passes than I did in my career, but I want to ask you about your offensive line. I know Harris Barton, Ralph Tam, both injured on that right side of the offensive line, Steve Young's blind side. How big a problem is that going to be this week against a very good Kansas City pass rush?
Well, we have some big shoes to fill, but the tradition here, the next guys in line, they got to be able to fill in and make the plays. So, you know, we can't worry about that now. We got to try to focus in on this coming week and just make the plays and win a football game.
Jerry, earlier in the show, we discussed one of the rules that they are enforcing today, and that is leave those receivers alone after they've gotten 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Now, you as a wide receiver, the great wide receiver, how do you like it?
Oh, I love it. I think it's great for the wide receivers because after you get out of that 5-yard radius, they can't bump you down the field, and now the receivers, they can make big plays.
Jerry, how big now is the gap between the NFC and the AFC? The Raiders were picked by many to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this year. You guys destroyed them. The Dallas Cowboys destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's getting to the point now we're almost wasting our time watching anybody but Dallas and San Francisco play for the whole thing.
You know, I think the NFC, we might be a little stronger because, you know, we have the teams now that can go out and dominate football games. And, you know, with Dallas is upcoming. They have a very young team, and they seem to be getting better every year. So with San Francisco, people say, you know, this is the year. You know, we have great players. We brought some great guys in, Ricky Jackson, Richard Dent, and I think we're going to do well this year. So it's a pretty good gap.
So basically you agree with me the AFC stinks?
I'm not going to say that, but, you know, right now we seem to be a little more dominant.
Jerry, that's very good because you know all the players watch the show. You don't want to end up on the bulletin board at Kansas City. Listen, thank you very much for taking time from your busy schedule. A big game for you this week against Kansas City. I hope that you're ready for the noise at Arrowhead, so good luck on Sunday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jerry Rice, not only a fabulous football player, but I think we know he is an outstanding individual as well. No telling how many touchdowns he'll eventually end up when his career is over. He said something a little controversial. He said the NFC, Nick, was a little stronger than the AFC.
Lenny, if I remember, I thought he said they were dominant. And the 49er defense now has gone from being good to being great. And one of those reasons is, if you look at the free agents here, is Richard Dent, the All-Pro they got from the Chicago Bears. Last week he had 2 sacks against the Raiders. That defensive line is putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. This week they go against Kansas City and their All-Pro offensive tackle, John Alt. And I think Alt is going to have his hands full in keeping Dent off of Montana's back.
Well, the 49ers made so many good offseason moves, really helped them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But they got so close to the salary cap, now that's beginning to be a problem. Because of injuries to the offensive line, they had to cut Rhett Hall, one of their defensive linemen, to get another offensive lineman in there to help. But I agreed with Jerry Rice, one of the things he said about this football game. These guys like to get those throws off quickly. They run those short routes. protection is not going to be a problem against Kansas
Hey,
City.
I agree. Offensive line, defensive line determine the outcome of this game, but this isn't a game for them. This is a game between Joe Montana and Steve Young. This is like a Super Bowl game in Kansas City. Tickets are going for $300 and $400 a piece, and Kansas City is really waiting for this football game. Who do you like to win it?
Well, I agree with you. This is Kansas City Super Bowl. San Francisco will have theirs a little bit later. The 49ers simply too strong. I love what Ken Norton has done for this defense. Added a little emotion. Now they're great on defense and on offense. I love the 49ers.
We are going to find that out because Kansas City is healthy. That means that Derek Thomas and Neil Smith were putting a lot of pressure on Steve Young. He'll be running around all afternoon long. And the emotion of the game, 80,000 fans will keep those players sky high. I like Kansas City in an upset. Nick, how about you?
You know something, Lenny? Every year I hear about those 80,000 fans at Arrowhead Stadium, but you know something? They can't play in a football game. And I think what's going to happen is that 49er defense would shut down a very fast Raider team, will do the same thing to Montana, and they will win the game.
Raiders, Nick, did not have a running game. Kansas City does with Marcus Allen and their #1 draft pick, Greg Hill. They can run with the football. And as we all know, when the running game goes, so does all of the offense, as the Giants found out this past week against the Eagles.
The fridge was very well stocked Sunday at the Meadowlands, but the Eagles suffered a giant case of heartburn thanks mostly to little David Meggett, number 30, who covered every inch of Giants Stadium.
And the bunt by Berger, a bad one, bounces the 40, takes a Philadelphia bounce. Meggett will run from the 31, gets the 40, 45, gets the 50. One man back at Berger. Berger slows him down, hits him, and he still takes the tackle. He will score! What a run! Almost 70 yards, Jimmy.
The Giants' suspect defense grounded the Eagles, sacking Randall Cunningham 5 times. While Meggett continued to elude the Eagle defenders, engaging in a game of cat and mouse, disappearing at times behind his massive front line, which paved a blue highway into the end zone for his second touchdown of the day. Fortunately for the Eagles, they won't be seeing David Meggett again until Week 16. Philadelphia will instead focus on the Bears' new quarterback, Eric Kramer, who found a new friend in tight end Chris Gedney.
Less than a yard. Kramer takes play action, looking right. Now the middle, throws to Gedney. Touchdown! High formation backfield, and on play action back to throw. Kramer pops it over the left side. Gedney wide open. 20, he's going to score. 10, 5, touchdown! Nobody in the same area code as Chris Gedney.
The Buccaneers hope to return to safer waters this week when they host Indianapolis. The Colts welcome to the corral number 28, rookie running back Marshall Faulk, who proceeded to stampede all over the Houston Oilers.
Sets to the right. And lead blocks for Faulk. Right up the middle, Faulk to the 30, 35, 40, 45 to the outside, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Stops on a dime. Tries to cut back. To the left side, handoff, Marshall Faulk. Up and over. Marshall Faulk goes airborne.
While Faulk ran like Forrest Gump through the Oilers' defense, the Colts' defense proved to be a natural-born thriller.
Tony Bennett to midfield. 40, 30. Tony Bennett with the fumble. Going all the way for the score.
The Oilers found no relief as Indianapolis built a 42-0 lead behind Faulk, who gained 174 total yards and scored 3 touchdowns.
50, Oiler 40 to the left side. Oh, baby, did they call the right play. Marshall Faulk to the left side to the 10, to the 5, kept it up, dives forward, and scored.
Faulk's impressive debut gave the Colts an easy victory. The Oilers face the defending champion Cowboys this week and hope to lead behind a disappointing start.
All day, all day, all day, all day. Let's have some fun with this. All day.
Last week, those Dallas Cowboys had their hands full in Pittsburgh. In particular, with Steeler All-Pro linebacker Greg Lloyd.
Don't run that over here. What's the wrong with you?
Hey, listen, these can't beat us, and we ain't gonna beat ourselves. That's the name of the game. Everybody to the football. We know we got to tackle this guy. One guy, we can't depend on one guy to tackle this guy. Extract! Extract! Hey, hey, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Containing the Cowboy offense over 4 quarters is one of pro football's truly impossible tasks.
We got to stay in this, man. We cannot give him 6. We cannot give it to him.
Out of the eye. Aikman, play action fake. Throws it in the end zone for Johnston. Diving. Oh, my God. A catch by Johnston.
Damn world champions in the house. What happened?
All the time along, we're wearing them down a little bit.
I want you to run one across the middle, 88. I'm going to shut that mouth up.
But words can't pass rush. And tough talk is no match for real talent.
Right, Irvin at the 20 and got away. Down the sideline to the 10. Balance lost at the 13-yard line.
Everything they got, we gave it to them. That's Hoist. You're going to play like that. Don't bother to come back out here.
In truth, Cowboy excellence rather than Steeler ineptitude determined the outcome.
Aikman hits right. Smith. 2 blockers in front. Turns the corner. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Emmitt Smith.
That's all we're talking about. Miami! Go Robbie! Woo! We Miami, baby! Slap him down.
For Greg Lloyd and the Steelers, some hard-edged reality. For the defending world champions, another impressive show.
Hey, I got love for you, baby.
And for media magnate Barry Switzer, the first step on a journey that could lead to NFL legend.
You know, we're taking them one at a time, and you know, yeah, we have an opportunity to do something that maybe no other team's done, but there's a lot of football to be played between now and January.
At the top of the show, I mentioned we have some new additions this year that we think is going to make Inside the NFL even more exciting than in the past. The main addition is the best analyzer of talent in football today. He's also the winning coach of the last 2 Super Bowls. I'm talking about Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Well, good to be here.
Wait a minute. Nick, take a look at that shirt. What's the deal with that
I'm going to get
shirt?
my sunglasses. Wait a minute, Jimmy.
No, this is for Nick's benefit. I thought I'd give him a little bit of South Florida atmosphere.
Thanks. I know you're relaxing now. Now you've convinced the whole world you are.
I thought maybe he made a wrong turn, ended up in Hawaii someplace. Once again, welcome to the show. All the nice things about you. Now, I want to talk about this guy, Jerry Jones. Now, after the Cowboys beat Pittsburgh, he said that was the most important victory since he's been with the Dallas Cowboys. I just like your reaction to that.
Well, I was kind of amused at that statement myself. You know, I guess he really wanted to win one without me, and he wasn't real sure if he could do it. And so I guess he was happy about that. Because I think that we had a couple of big wins in the past, and primarily on Super Bowl Sundays.
Well, one thing we know, Jimmy, that you can evaluate talent and pick talent better than anybody in football. And regarding that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Chuck rule. We talked about it early in the show, but let's take it in context with the game, 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Jerry Rice, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, how are you going to defend against Jerry Rice if you can't touch him?
Well, Nick, I think with the new rule, it makes it more difficult. I know the last couple of years, about the only success that we had against Jerry Rice is that we would line up a 4-deep secondary, and we would go ahead and roll over toward Jerry Rice, in effect double covering Jerry Rice, with the defender chucking him at the line of scrimmage and then double covering him and trying to disrupt his route. You know, we had some success in the last couple of games doing that, but of course you leave everybody else open. With the new rule, with you not being able to chuck him at the line of scrimmage, or at least there a few yards off the line of scrimmage, I think it's going to be difficult, especially on all those crossing routes that Jerry Rice runs.
Is this the end of the bump and run as we know it?
Yeah, I really think so. And I think, you know, the teams are going to have to look at their people back in the defensive backfield now. I really think that the big defender that was able to muscle with the wide receiver, I think that may be a thing of the past unless he's got outstanding quickness and speed. You know, I know right now I would be looking more at defensive backs that had great speed and quickness because you're not going to be able to bang on those receivers anyway.
Jimmy, we have already picked the San Francisco-Kansas City game. I picked Kansas City, Nick and Chris, San Francisco 49ers. Your thought on this particular game?
Well, you know, I think it's a great matchup. I think two of the better teams in the league, one of the best teams in the AFC, and then one of the two best teams in the NFC. I think with the quarterback matchup with Montana, with Young, two premier players, and I think the difference of the game is the supporting cast for the 49ers is so much stronger with Rice and Taylor, with their defenders that they picked up in the offseason. I think they just have a much better overall team, but two great quarterbacks, one maybe the greatest of all time.
So who's going to win?
I like the 49ers.
All right. Stay with us because we want you to comment after we take a look at our cover story this week, and it's on the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Barry Switzer.
I think that the people around me, the closest to me, know that I don't care. I mean that. I don't care who gets the credit.
Isn't that the crux of why Barry Switzer is coaching the Cowboys now and Jimmy Johnson isn't? A different attitude, a perception, right or wrong, that Switzer will let controversial owner Jerry Jones play with his toy, where Johnson never would.
There's no toy here. I spend my life managing the Dallas Cowboys. Coaching plays an important role, but when it really gets down to it, when you've got a great team like we have, it's a support role. It's a contribution role. Where the mistake is for people to think that it is the man or it is the coach that really is responsible for it happening. That's just not the case.
1 week down, 21 to go, the verdict is still out on the Barry and Jerry show, or is that the Jerry and Barry show as the Cowboys go for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl title? Yet most of the pressure is on Switzer because he's the one following the legend of Jimmy Johnson. But most of all because he's one of the very few people behind these walls who doesn't wear a Super Bowl ring. And the only way that pressure will be relieved is when and if the Cowboys win another.
Even if we go 16-0 and happen to slip up and lose a playoff game, there'll be some people saying he didn't do it right. Yeah, he's ultimately judged by Super Bowls, right or wrong, good or bad. It's just the way that is.
If we win a third Super Bowl, I don't care who they say did it. The fact is we did it, and no other football team can say that. So, that's the important thing.
As always, it's winning that matters, keeping the system strong and the players productive.
Professional players don't care who their football coach is, who the head coach is. They don't care who's got the reins. As long as they believe in the system, are treated fairly and honestly, and have success, they don't care. And I know that to be a fact.
Switzer has already proven that to some players. Unsigned All-Pro guard Nate Newton was ready to leave the Cowboys when the coaching change was made, but
I wound up coming back here. I talked to Coach Switzer one day. He said, well, Nate, what can we do? I said, you get me in camp. I said, you get me there by camp. Have me signed. 2 days later, I was signed. So, from that point on, if a man stick his neck out for me, I'm damn sure stick my neck out for him.
Yet Switzer knows some players are still on the fence and need convincing.
Change happens overnight, but what takes place is that, well, that's not the way we did it, or that way he did it. These things, and hey, that's the way I do it.
So now is the time to get used to the way Switzer does it. Better, worse, or just different.
Jimmy had something to say every day to get guys focused and to kind of grab their attention. And that was the way he did it. Barry's a little bit different. I think, Barry only says something when he feels like he has something to say.
I noticed after we got down to the final cuts and we had all our team here, he actually came in and sat down and gave us a serious talk. I mean, a talk that everybody, that probably opened everybody's eyes. I mean, he was ready to turn it on. And he let us know he was ready to turn it on.
Switzer has proven himself in college, winning 3 national titles at Oklahoma, but in the NFL, he's only 1-0, still an unproven rookie.
Maybe 25 years ago, and early in my coaching career as head coach, maybe I was concerned about those things, images and perceptions. I don't care anymore. It's just like Jerry said, are you having fun now? I'm going to tell you, I'm having fun now. And I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to enjoy it. And it doesn't work, it doesn't fit, I go back to Norman, Oklahoma, sit down on my couch and enjoy my kids and do the things I was doing before I came to Dallas. I don't have a problem with that.
That's a good attitude to have. Don't worry, be happy, but above all else, make sure that Jerry Jones is happy. Very happy.
That's our cover story. Let's bring Jimmy Johnson back to get his reaction. Jimmy, your reaction to this, particularly when the owner says that the head coach is in a supporting role. How'd you react to this?
Well, I think, you know, Jerry probably says that because of what happened the last 5 years. I think the biggest thing, though, we shouldn't be talking about Jerry Jones getting credit or Jimmy Johnson getting credit or even Barry Switzer getting credit. The credit for winning the last 2 Super Bowls, so it belongs to the Troy Aikmans and the Emmitt Smiths and the Michael Irvins, Russell Maryland, Charles Haley. You know, the players win football games. And I've said this before, my contribution to the Cowboys wasn't winning 2 Super Bowls. My contribution was putting together the team, along with a couple of assistant coaches and some scouts. We put together the team that won 2 Super Bowls.
Well, one thing I can say, Jimmy, is the fact that you look at organizations that don't have good football coaches, and I'm going to show you bad organizations and bad teams, and I think that a head football coach is the most important person in an organization and on the team.
Well, there you have it, Jimmy. The word has been said by Nick Buoniconti. Hopefully we can put all of this stuff to rest. Now stick with us because we want you on the pick segment to see how well you can do this week. Well, big as Dallas's victory was over Pittsburgh, several teams won big divisional games to start the season, as we'll see now.
Power running has been a long-time tradition in Cleveland. But if last week's opener is any indication, the 1994 Browns may well be defined by speed on special teams.
Baldwin takes it into 16, comes to the right, 30, 35, now back up midfield, breaks clear, 50, 45, 40, he's across the 30, one man to beat, stutter step, 10, 5, touchdown, Cleveland Browns, 84 yards, Randy Baldwin. Oh my, there was some jitterbug in there. Eric takes it at his 8-yard line, picks up a nice block, Caldwell, 15, 20, sidesteps a man, sideline, 30, 40, 50, he's gone all the way for a touchdown. Eric Metcalf, 92-yard punt return.
Eric Metcalf's club record 92-yard return was one highlight. Another was the debut of number 99, the NFL's top draft pick, Big Daddy Wilkinson, who threw his considerable weight around to no avail. But Cleveland saw a 25-7 lead dissipate when in a matchup of highly rated rookies, Darnay Scott burned cornerback Antonio Langham, the 9th pick in the draft.
And he beat the rookie Antonio Langham.
The Browns sweated out the final minutes. Then their rookie reaped revenge.
Klingler, end zone, and the ball is intercepted by the rookie Antonio Langham, who did the professional and veteran thing, just fell down.
But a rookie give it and a rookie take it. They said he could make the big play, and he had the great instincts. Well, he jumped that route right in time.
The Jets began the new year with a new coach and sky-high aspirations. But even they were shocked at how thoroughly they ransacked both Buffalo lines. Boomer Esiason was unspectacular, but effective in the clutch. His 55-yard pass to number 86 tight end Johnny Mitchell set up the touchdown that put the game out of Buffalo's reach.
Boomer would like to lower the boom here. Motion by Thornton. And Boomer will run up the middle and down to the goal line, and in for the touchdown goes Johnny Johnson as they blew the Bills off
the Jets beat the Bills in every phase of the game and handed head coach Pete Carroll his first professional victory. In Miami, Dan Marino navigated through storm clouds of controversy about his injured Achilles tendon by sweetly slinging passes in the rain.
Marino slogging in the mud, back to pass. He throws downfield, has a man open. Mark Ingram has it at the 30. He's to the 20, 10. He is gone. Oh, touchdown!
It was vintage Marino as Dapper Dan hit Keith Jackson for his 300th career touchdown pass, en route to his NFL record 11th 400-yard game.
Marino takes the snap. He's under pressure. Dodges the rush. Now throws deep downfield. Has a man open. It's caught. Irving Fryar, touchdown.
Marino's comeback in the muck and mire impressed many, including opposing quarterback Drew Bledsoe.
In motion from right to left comes Turner. Back to throw is Bledsoe. Looks, fires it up the field. Ben Coates open. 40, 35, 30. Breaks a tackle. 15, 10, 5. Yes!
Looking like a young Marino, Bledsoe threw for a career-high 421 yards and gave the Patriots a fourth-quarter lead with help from acrobatic Ray Crittenden.
Right comes Timpson. Back to throw Bledsoe. 2nd and 4. Pump fakes. Shoots it to the end zone. Crittenden got it. A leaping catch in the end zone for Ray Crittenden, and the Patriots regain the lead on Drew Bledsoe's 4th touchdown pass of the afternoon.
But Marino showed that he was still the maestro by firing his 4th and 5th touchdown passes of the game. The last coming on 4th down and 5 with 3 minutes remaining.
That brings on a 4th down and 5.
There's no question what they're doing here.
Shotgun. Marino throws deep downfield. It is caught by Fryar. Touchdown! Touchdown!
Neither rain nor sleet nor tarnished Achilles tendon can stop Dan Marino. And that spells trouble for Miami's opponents. Coming up, highlights of San Diego's last-minute victory and a spotlight on former Charger Kellen Winslow, named to the all-time NFL team.
There seemed to be more than a little confusion in that Dolphin and Patriots secondary last week, but there's never any confusion on this show because we have my main man, Gary Myers, back with us again. Gary, good to see you.
It's good to see you, Chris.
Let's get right into it. A great matchup in Week 1 between Kansas City and San Francisco. Steve Young against Joe Montana. So much has been written and said about the relationship between these two guys. Give us the lowdown.
Yeah, I think that the relationship was extremely strained, especially at the end when Joe was wound up being traded to Kansas City. And basically it was because they were both competitive. They were both going after the same job for a lot of years, and neither guy wanted to be second string. You know, it wasn't really personal. It was more on the competition level. But one of the things that Ronnie Lott, who now plays with the Jets, but, you know, was witness to everything that was going on there, said the perception was that Steve Young sat patiently, you know, waiting for his chance to play. And really, that couldn't be further from the truth. He said there would be days after practice that Steve would be real upset. He goes, you know, what's the matter with Steve? And somebody would say, you know, he's upset because he didn't get enough snaps in practice. And, you know, Lott said, hey, we're trying to win some games here. What's going on?
You know, but there's one guy that everybody loves, and that's Buddy Ryan with the Arizona Cardinals. What was the fallout from his first loss?
Well, the fallout was that the phones in the Rams office, the coaching office, were very busy this week from other coaches around the league. Maybe half the teams called to congratulate the Rams on beating Buddy. Every team from the NFC East checked in and said, hey, way to go. What I think has happened is because of the things that Buddy says and the things that Buddy does, he's really made the Cardinals a target, much like teams get up to play Super Bowl teams. Now they're getting up to play the Cardinals, and based on the way they played against the Rams in the first week of the season, the Cardinals might not be up to that kind of pressure.
I don't know about you, but one of the games that really surprised me in Week 1 was the Jets beating the Buffalo Bills. Pete Carroll's done a great job. What are some of the things he's doing there?
Well, there's a whole new attitude there, basically because of Pete Carroll. Now, the night before the game in Buffalo, instead of talking to the team about the game plan or showing them tapes, he showed them a 20-minute comedy special. As soon as it was over, he said, okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. The day after the game when they're reviewing tapes, he spliced in, when there was a big hit by Ronnie Lott, he then spliced in a movie where Lott's sitting on a motorcycle and he's kicking somebody, and that broke up the team. And maybe what Pete really got their attention during training camp is one of the Jets' flights was really delayed coming back from Detroit. Instead of sitting at the airport, he took them to a restaurant, and he even helped out in the kitchen by serving the players.
Sounds a little like Bill Walsh, some of the things that he used to do. But if he wants to keep everybody entertained, maybe the top thing he could do is sign Deion Sanders. Still available to all the teams in the National Football League. Update us on him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real struggle on any team's salary cap that tries to sign Deion. I think right now Miami and Atlanta are the favorites to do it. And as you can see right now, San Francisco's only a little over $21,000 under the cap. And no other team really is in great shape of the teams that have shown interest in him. What's going to happen for any team that signs Deion is either they're going to have to release a bunch of players to create some room, or the new concept being discussed is getting Deion in for as little as possible this year and then guaranteeing him a whole bunch of money for 95.
Well, I know my Bengals can still sign him up, right? They have room under that salary
cap. But not
cap.
enough room to sign you.
Gary, we'll see you next week.
Okay, Chris.
Earlier we talked about all the high-scoring games this past week, and now let's take a look at some of those highly charged offenses.
In Denver's Mile High Stadium, 2 AFL charter members hooked up in a shootout reminiscent of the 60s.
Elway having to step up. He throws on the move. It's Pritchard open at the 5. Touchdown!
Another nostalgic remnant of that bygone era was some old-fashioned up-the-gut power running.
Russell's running outside. He's at the 15. Russell to the 10. Russell to the 5. To the end zone. Touchdown!
The Broncos, who used to never lose at home, took a commanding 18-point lead in the second quarter. But then Charger quarterback Stan Humphries ignited an aerial touchdown barrage that brought the visitors back from way behind.
Humphries to throw. Looks long. He's got Jefferson open. He's got it. Touchdown, San Diego. He emptied the backfield. Everybody into the pattern. Great protection. He looks and throws wide open to Say. He caught it. Touchdown, San Diego.
The sun set on Denver fortunes when Humphries engineered a whopping 19-play, 89-yard drive that put the Chargers in front to stay.
A throw means to the goal line. Touchdown, San Diego, as he goes up and over the top.
With 35 seconds left, the game was in the hands of the acknowledged master of the 2-minute drill.
In motion right. Elway will roll right, wants to throw, steps up to throw, pump fakes, looks. Intercepted! It's intercepted by San Diego! Yes, they got the ball!
Junior Seau. What a way for it to end.
With a new team, a new number, and same strong arm, Jeff George got off to a flying start as a Falcon.
George to pass. A lot of time. He can run if he wants to. Deep down the middle. There's Rising wide open at the 25. Go, baby. 10-5. Kiss Andre goodbye. Touchdown.
But some things never change. Despite throwing 3 touchdown passes, Georgia's team still managed to lose the game. Anthony Carter's touchdown catch with 30 seconds left in regulation tied the game before Jason Hanson won it in overtime.
Jason Hanson, can he do it? Hanson's kick is on its way. It's good. The Lions win it in overtime. 31-28. Jason Hanson wins it for the Lions in the season opener.
Up next for the Falcons are the Rams, who last week hosted the latest reincarnation of Buddy Bowl. Unfortunately for Phoenix, while Buddy Ball unleashes bounty hunters on defense, it also produces bumblers on offense.
Line. Wide receiver right is Randall Hill. They give it to the running back Sanders, and he is mauled by Los Angeles. Fumbles the football. It's picked up by Todd Light, and he will go all the way to the 30, the 20, the 10. He struts into the end zone. Touchdown, Rams.
The Rams held on to win 14-12. In Green Bay, the Pack welcomed back one-day holdout Sterling Sharp and immediately got a dividend on their high-priced investment.
9:10 to go here in the first half of the game. Favre straight back in the pocket, looking. Favre comes upfield. Wide open. Sterling Sharp.
While Sterling looked like his old sharp self, new Viking quarterback Warren Moon simply looked old. The Vikings' only touchdown came on defense when the Packers failed to pick up a blitz by linebacker Ed McDaniel.
First down, 10 to go. Pack at their own 25-yard line.
Oh,
fumble football picked up by James Harris.
Get up and run,
James. Run with it. He's at the 15, the 10, the 5. He's into the end zone. Are they going to call it? Good.
It was too little too late for Minnesota as the Pack prevailed 16-10.
How about that Green Bay defense? Did they ruin Warren Moon's debut as the quarterback of the Vikings or not? Warren now enjoys the worst rating of all quarterbacks in the National Football League. But, Chris, that was last week. Green Bay this week will host Dan Marino and the Dolphins in Milwaukee. Dan, of course, coming off a fabulous 5-touchdown, almost 500-yard day.
And the Packers have some problems in that secondary. They lost Roland Mitchell, their starting cornerback, to injury last week. George Teague, their safety, has a broken thumb. But I think Dan Marino has a few problems in this game as well. Everybody talks about Reggie White and Sean Jones and Bryce Popp, the great pass rushers for the Green Bay Packers. But there's a guy by the name of Gilbert Brown, a 300-pound defensive tackle that's going to provide that push up the middle. And anytime Dan Marino steps up in the pocket, he's going to be a little skittish, have a few problems. I think that's going to be the test for Dan this week.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The problem with the Dolphins is not Dan Marino and the offense. It's a terrible defense. Last week, Patriot quarterback Drew Bledsoe looked like he was playing catch with his all-pro tight end Ben Coates. In the offseason, the Dolphins go out and they get Michael Stewart and Gene Atkins, 2 free agent safeties. They bring them in hoping that they're the answer. Well, they were nowhere to be found on Sunday. And when they play the Packers and they try to double-team Sterling Sharp and take him out of the game, look for the tight end Ed West to roam the middle and have a real big game for the Packers.
I have the solution to that problem, Nick. Keep those safeties on the sideline by getting a running game going. It is a problem, though, because Miami does not have a running game. Terry Kirby is the guy they're counting on, and Nick, when I saw him run, it looked like he was tiptoeing through that hole. That will not get it done.
Bunny, I think I have an answer for the Dolphins' poor running game, and that's a rookie by the name of Irving Spikes. This guy can flat-out run, but the unfortunate thing is Don Shula has not shown the confidence to start this rookie. But you know something? Brett Favre and the Packers will win this game because Favre will not throw interceptions. When he throws less than 2 interceptions a game, the Packers are 13-3, and that's enough to win.
Dan Marino had to throw the ball over 40 times last week against New England. Fortunately, he survived, but he has to do that again this week against the likes of Reggie White and Sean Jones. He could be in for a very punishing afternoon. I like the Green Bay Packers. Chris?
Well, New England gave up too many big plays to Dan Marino in that offense. You simply can't do that. The Packers, much more of a conservative zone type of team. They're going to force Dan Marino and the offense to go the distance. I like the Packers in this one as well.
You know, when you talk about the Dolphins, they kind of remind me of the Chargers back in the early 80s when the offense knew they had to score 35 to 40 points to have a chance to win, but they had the receivers to do it. Charlie Joyner, J.J. Jefferson, and the subject of this week's Where Are They Now?, Kellen Winslow.
In 1979, the Chargers drafted what is undoubtedly one of the greatest tight ends in the history of the NFL. This All-American out of the University of Missouri revolutionized the position as he became a pure pass-receiving tight end. In 9 seasons, Kellen Winslow went to the Pro Bowl 5 times and became the only tight end to catch 5 touchdown passes in the same game. But all this isn't what Winslow is most remembered for.
January 2nd, 1982. The reason I say that with such confidence is because I hear it every day. San Diego Chargers versus Miami Dolphins in the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida.
A classic playoff game, a game synonymous with the name, Kellen Winslow, and one in which nobody can forget. Don Shula referred to Winslow as Superman following his performance that day.
I had stitches in my lip. I went through 3 pair of shoulder pads that game. I had a pinched nerve in my left shoulder on top of the dehydration that I was experiencing in the cramps. It was just a long day, a very long one, but one I look back on with a great sense of pride and accomplishment.
Then in 1984, at the top of his game, Winslow's career was cut short by a devastating knee injury. After a full year of rehabilitation, Winslow returned, but needed to lower his sight.
When I came back, I had to adjust my way of playing to become a decent player, hopefully be a very good, decent player. And I think I accomplished that over the next 2 years that I played and ended up playing my last game in the 1988 Pro Bowl, which was kind of a way to me of saying, I'm back, now I can go. And I retired 6 months later.
Don't believe for a minute that Winslow's talents are reserved only for the playing field. After receiving his Juris Doctorate from the University of San Diego Law School, Kellen moved to Kansas City, where he represents professional athletes.
When I first went to law school, I wanted nothing to do with sports representation, not a thing. I think it was a dirty, slimy business with a bunch of dirty, slimy people in it.
It was Winslow's law professor and friend, Ken Shropshire, who helped point Kellen in the right direction.
He convinced me over the course of that summer that I had an obligation to get involved and try to do things in a manner, from a perspective, mind you, as one who's been there, and to give back.
Perhaps the league could use another qualified leader who's played the game. If his endless effort in that famous '82 playoff game does prove one thing, it's that Kellen Winslow is qualified to lead.
Once athletes start to value what they do, then they will start to understand that playing athletics brings with it certain lessons of life, character, perseverance. And you can apply that to anything that you do, and you can be a success at anything you do.
Kellen Winslow, you know all about success. Recently, you were selected to the all-time team celebrating 75 years in the National Football League. Our congratulations to you. Now, who am I going to congratulate regarding our pick segment for the first week? Why,
truly.
it's Nick Bonacani again, picking up right where he left off. 10-4, the rest of us, dead even, 8-6. All right, earlier in the show, we picked several games. Now for the rest. We all like San Diego to beat Cincinnati, Dallas over Houston in the Battle of Texas, Indianapolis over Tampa Bay, but Jimmy likes the Bucks. Atlanta will defeat the Rams. New Orleans will knock off Washington. On Monday night, Chicago will defeat the Eagles. Now for the rest of the games in more detail. First of all, Jimmy, you're the new kid on the block. I'll go to you first. But before we pick the Buffalo-New England game, you told us San Francisco should beat Kansas City. But what about the Miami-Green Bay game? Who do you like?
Well, yeah, I think Miami, because of the great performance Marino had last week, and he had that same type of performance in one drive in preseason against Green Bay earlier on this year. I like Miami.
Well, let's go at the Buffalo-New England game. Who do you like there?
Well, the Buffalo-New England game, Bill Parcells has done a great job with New England. I think Bledsoe's going to be a great quarterback, but I think Buffalo got stung last week, and they're going to go back, and they're going to win this ball game.
Well, one thing, Lenny, Bledsoe is for real. The receivers are for real. Marion Butts will have a big game running up the middle because Jeff Wright is not there for the Buffalo Bills. I like New England.
Jeff Wright's not there, and I think another big loss, Nate Odoms, the cornerback who went on to Seattle, now, of course, injured. But I believe these New England Patriots are for real. I like the Patriots.
You know, Miami riddled New England's defense. Marino had 5 touchdown passes. Buffalo, they've won 7 of the last 8. I think they'll make it 8 out of 9. I like Buffalo. All right, Chris, Denver is at the Jets.
Well, I didn't think it was possible for Denver's defense to be any worse than what they were last season, but on opening day, they absolutely were. They're trying to play that bump and run with their corners up the field. It just simply is not working. Boomer Esiason, 370 yards last year against this team. I think he'll do it again. I like the Jets.
Well, Chris, I think Wade Phillips is going to jump in on that defense, and he's going to get them playing better. And I think with Elway, I think it was a fluke losing last week. Elway's going to win this ball game, the Denver Broncos.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The Jets, in my mind, have the best defense in the AFC, and I think Lagerman and Washington will put heat on Elway, and the Jets will win at home.
Well, let's not forget that the Broncos are going to be without Shannon Sharp. I like the New York Jets to win this contest. All right, Nicholas, we'll go to you now. We've got Detroit at Minnesota.
Well, this is a tough one. I mean, Minnesota lost last week. Detroit had a big game. But I like Detroit, even though they're traveling up to Minnesota, for one simple reason. I think their defense is tough, and when you got Barry Sanders running on artificial turf, then you've got a winner. I like Detroit.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Warren Moon in Minnesota just simply is not working. I like Detroit as well.
Jimmy?
Well, I think Detroit's my pick because of Barry Sanders. The last couple of years, he's been able to run on the Minnesota defense. I know that Emmitt Smith did it last year for our Dallas team. I like Detroit.
Well, you keep talking about Detroit's running game. What about the Vikings? They had 48 yards rushing last week, and for that reason, I am going to pick Detroit. All right, next up, Jimmy, it's you. We got Pittsburgh at Cleveland.
Well, I think, Cleveland's got a solid defense. I don't know that they're going to be a consistent offensive team. Pittsburgh did not show what they can do this past week against the Cowboys, but it was the Cowboys. I like Pittsburgh in this game.
Well, this is a tough one. They're going up to Cleveland. O'Donnell had just a horrible game last week. But you've got to believe, even though that Cleveland, I think, has won most of the games the last 5 or 6 years, you've got to believe that Pittsburgh has an AFC caliber championship team. I like the Steelers.
Well, I was there when these two teams got together in Cleveland last year, and Pittsburgh really dominated the football game. Cleveland won because of 2 Eric Metcalf punt returns, but I think Pittsburgh is a better team. I like the Steelers.
Yeah, Nick, you were talking about O'Donnell. He was sacked 9 times last week. It will not happen this week. I like Pittsburgh as well. All right, Chris, we got Seattle at the Raiders. Who do you like?
Well, the Raiders need to forget about trying to run the football. Just let Jeff Hostetler drop back, throw the thing to the Rocket and the Jet and Alexander Wright and Tim Brown. They should win this one. I like the Raiders.
Well, Chris, I like the Raiders as well. I think they're a physical team. They're as physical a team in the AFC. And I think because of that, they're going to win the ball game. Also, I like that great speed at wide receiver.
Well, Meyer is having had a good game last week, but I do think the Raiders at home with their defense. I agree with Jimmy. I like L.A. Raiders at home.
I go with you. The Raiders will win this football game. All right, we got the New York Giants at Arizona. Nick, you take that.
Well, the Giants are going up against Buddy Ryan. I just can't see Buddy Ryan's team not responding to that defeat. I think Arizona wins at home.
Well, plus it's the first look for Dave Brown, the new quarterback of the Giants, against Buddy Ryan's defense, and that should be enough. I like the Arizona Cardinals in this one.
I like the New York Giants because of Dave Brown. He did an outstanding job in the first game, and really Phoenix and Arizona, they have no offense. I like New York Giants.
Well, I like Arizona because it's going to be hot, hot, hot there, and Buddy's going to be hot too. All right, now, gentlemen, our annual picks for the Super Bowl 29 from Joe Robbie Stadium. Jimmy, tell us who's going to represent the AFC and NFC and who's going to win it.
Well, I picked the Cowboys. I think they're the most talented team in the league. I think they'll have a tussle with the San Francisco 49ers, but they'll be in the Super Bowl. They'll win the Super Bowl against whoever goes in there from the AFC. Just to pick one, I'd pick the Los Angeles Raiders.
Well, I have to agree with Jimmy. I think it's going to be Dallas, but I think Kansas City will represent the AFC, but in the end, it'll be the Dallas Cowboys.
I like the Dallas Cowboys to finish second in the NFC. I like the San Francisco 49ers. If I could pick Dallas for the AFC, I would, but I can't. So I'm going to take the LA Raiders. I believe that they have the best all-around football team in the AFC.
Well, well, well. All right, in the AFC, Kansas City. I think they're going to show that they're the class of the AFC this year. Montana has to stay healthy, though. NFC, the Dallas Cowboys, an awful lot of talent on that team because of Jimmy Johnson. Who's going to win it? The Dallas Cowboys, 3 in a row. Well, that's our show for this week. Remember, Inside the NFL premieres each Thursday evening at 11 p.m. If you missed any part of it, you can catch it again Fridays at 7 p.m., Saturdays at 11 a.m. Those are Eastern and Pacific times. So, Jimmy Johnson, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week. And, folks, you join us next week on HBO's Inside the NFL.
I played football for the Cowboys for 14 years. This year I was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Stay tuned next week to see what I'm doing now. That's what we're talking about. We slide up and play our gap. They ain't got nothing. We line up and play our gaps. They ain't got nothing. Where's the D at? It's gap defense. That's all it is. You don't get in your gap, they're going to beat your ass. You got to play gap defense, man. Don't go sticking your head where it don't belong.